Hello students, in previous class we have seen mechanism of enzyme catalysis and some homework was given to you all. I believe that all of you have done them. Now in today class we are going to start new topic, that is colloid. So let us try to understand what is colloid. A heterogeneous system in which one substance is dispersed as very fine particles in another substance is called a colloid. It means in colloid there are two parts, one is dispersed phase and another one is dispersion medium. So when phase is heterogeneously mixed with in dispersion medium, it is called colloid, where the size of the particle dissolved lies between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. That is 10 to the power minus 9 to 10 to the power minus 6 meter. If the size of the particle is more than 1000 nanometer in the dissolved state, it is termed as suspension. Otherwise, it is a true solution. Actually, in true solution, the mixture is homogeneous. And difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous we have learnt a lot in class 11 in very first chapter. In homogeneous mixture, all the components are mixed with each other in uniform way. Only then it is known as homogeneous mixture. So true solution is homogeneous, where the size of the dissolved particle is less than 1 nanometer. Then it is known as true solution. Conclusion is that the colloidal state is an intermediate state between true solution and suspension. Now classification of colloid. There are many classifications. Classification number one is based on physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Table 5.4 in NCERT will clear your ideas more, which is given on page number 134. Page number may vary, but table number is 5.4, where you can find different types of colloids. Example is whipped cream, that is foam, where a gas is dispersed in liquid. Second example is firefighting foams used in emergency while landing of aeroplanes. Example number three is proteins and nucleic acids are colloidal size particles dispersed in an aqueous solution of ions and small molecules. This is the example of solid in water. And further, I would like to clear that out of various types of colloids in table 5.4, the most common are sols, that is solid in liquid, then gels, that is liquid in solid, and emulsions, that is liquid in liquid. Now the next classification is based on nature of the interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Number one is, that is highly important, number one is lyophilic colloid. Lyo plus philic. Lyo means liquid, philic means loving. So liquid loving colloid is known as lyophilic colloid, which is reversible in nature. These sols are called reversible sols because the solids obtained on evaporation can be reconverted to the sol by simply agitating them with the dispersion medium. If the water is the dispersion medium, it is called hydrophilic sols. Otherwise, it is lyophilic sols. Now next is lyophobic sol. Lyo plus phobic. Phobia means hating. The liquid hating sols where the dispersed phase has very little affinity for the dispersion medium. It is irreversible so, where we see it cannot be reconverted. Example, metals and their sulfides or oxides mixed with dispersion medium. If water is the medium, it is called hydrophobic salt. Now the third classification is based on the type of particles of the dispersed phase. On this basis, again, we are going to start very important topic for this year board examination. So definitions are there in your, maybe in your board questions. I'm discussing one by one. Number one is multimolecular colloids. Colloids in which particles are aggregates of atoms or small molecules with size less than 1 nanometer are called multimolecular colloids. So such kind of questions are very easy, only definition is there to be written. Example also, so example is again highly important. A gold sol containing clusters of several gold atoms. Another example is a sol of sulfur is aggregate of 8 molecules, where these aggregates are held by van der Waals forces. The second classification is macromolecular colloids. Colloids having large molecules as colloidal particles are called macromolecular colloids. They have very high molecular masses, varying from 10 to the power 3 to 10 to the power 6. A common example is starch, proteins, cellulose, etc. These all are natural macromolecules colloids. Maybe artificial also, like polythene, nylon, plastics, polystyrene, etc. These all are man-made artificial macromolecular colloids. So these colloid solutions are quite stable and resemble true solution in some respect. Now the third classification is associated colloids. So out of all these three, the last one, that is third one, is highly important. Substances behaving as normal, strong electrolytes at low concentration, but at high concentration exhibit colloidal behavior due to formation of aggregates. Then such kind of colloids are called associated colloids. So there are two conditions. At lower concentration, it is behaving like a strong electrolyte, whereas at higher concentration, exhibiting colloidal behavior due to formation of aggregates. If these two are happening side by side, then in that case, it is called associated colloid. The common example is micelles. Micelles you have studied a lot in class 10, that is soap. Again, we are going to learn the same topic. Micelles, the cluster of or aggregate particles formed by dissociated colloids in solutions are called micelles. Micelles may contain as many as 100 molecules or more. In this classification, the two important topics we have to learn, that is Kraft temperature, that is a particular temperature above which formation of micelle takes place, is called Kraft temperature. And the second important topic is critical micelle concentration, CMC. A particular concentration above which the formation of micelle takes place is called CMC. For example, for soap, CMC is 10 to the power minus 4 to 10 to the power minus 3 mole per liter. These colloids have both, that is lyophilic and lyophobic part. So on dilution, these colloids revert back to individual ions. So actually, this topic, again, I'm telling you, very much important for our board examination. So now we are going to try to learn mechanism of micelle formation. So before the start of mechanism, we must be knowing the definition of soap, which we have learned in standard 10. Again, I am giving you definition, very easy definition. Sodium or potassium salt, sodium or potassium salt of long chain of fatty acid, of higher fatty acid are called soaps. As for example, in diagram it is shown clearly sodium stearate C17 H35 COONA or sodium palmitate, that is C15 H31 COONA. In these formulae, we see there are two clear-cut parts. One is long chain of hydrocarbon parts, that is hydrophobic tail, and a very short part, that is ionic part, which is shown by a dotted circle, broken circle, that is hydrophilic part. So it is sometimes known as tadpole structure. In tadpole, we see a very long tail and very small head. So head is representing here hydrophilic, that is ionic part of the soap, whereas long tail is representing hydrophobic tail. So this is the definition of soap and a structure of soap, where we see there are two clear-cut parts. One is a long hydrocarbon part and very small ionic part. Long hydrocarbon part is that is hydrophobic part, and short ionic part is hydrophilic part. Now, let us try to understand when we see that as the concentration exceeds CMC, then what happens? When the concentration exceeds CMC, the hydrophobic part starts receding away from the solvent and are made to approach each other. However, the polar COO part, that is carboxylate ionic part, tend to interact with the water molecules, which ultimately leads to the formation of cluster having the dimension of the colloidal particles. In each cluster, a large number, usually 100 or more, of stearate groups are clumped together in a spherical manner, which is ultimately known as micelle, so that their hydrocarbon parts interact with one another, but ionic parts remain projected in water as shown above in the diagram. In above diagram, it is the structure of micelle, where ionic parts are interacting with water, whereas hydrocarbon parts are interacting with dirt particles. Now we are going to try to understand very much important part of the soap, that is cleansing action of soap. The cleansing action of the soap is due to the fact that soap molecules form micelle around the oil droplet, that is dirt, in such a way that hydrophobic part of the stearate ions is in the oil droplet, and hydrophilic part projects out of the grease, or you can say dirt particle, like the bristles, while the hydrophilic part remains in water. The oil droplet surrounded by stearate ions is now pulled in water and removed from the dirty surface. The negatively charged state around the globules prevents them from coming together, forming aggregates. So this is all about your cleansing action of soap. Now we are going to learn properties of colloids. Again, there are many parts of in this topic, properties of colloids. Part A is chemical method, preparation of colloids. So there are different types of methods to prepare. Number one is chemical method, where chemical reactions take place in which formation of molecules take place by double decomposition, oxidation, reduction, or hydrolysis. These all are taking place in certain examples we will observe, and where we see molecules thus formed aggregate to form salts. Example is AS2O3, arsenic oxide, is when treated with hydrogen sulfide, double decomposition takes place, giving us AS2H3, that is sol, and plus 3H2O. Another example is when sulfur dioxide is treated with hydrogen sulfide, oxidation takes place to give sulfur sol. And in third example, we see when auric chloride is treated with formaldehyde aqueous, then reduction takes place to give gold sol. In fourth example, we see when ferric chloride treated with water, hydrolysis takes place to give ferric hydroxide sol. Now the second method of preparation is electrical disintegration or Bradick's arc method. In this method, there are two stages, that is dispersion as well as condensation. Salts of metals like gold, silver, platinum, etc. are prepared by this method. In this method, electric arc is struck between electrodes of the metals immersed in the dispersion medium as shown in the diagram. The metal vaporized due to produced intense heat condenses to form particles of colloidal size. Now the third method that is highly important, that is peptidization. The process of converting a precipitate into colloidal sol by shaking it with dispersion medium in the presence of a small amount of electrolyte is called peptidization. Peptizing agent. The electrolyte used for the purpose of peptidization is called peptizing agent. Only fresh precipitate can be converted into colloidal solution by this method, because such precipitates are simply clusters of particles of colloidal size held by weak forces. So this is all about your peptidization. Again, I am repeating the process of conversion of a precipitate into colloidal or colloidal sol by shaking it with dispersion medium in the presence of a small amount of an electrolyte is called peptidization, and the electrolyte thus used is known as peptizing agent. Now let us try to understand cause of precipitation. During peptidization, the precipitate adsorbs one of the ion of electrolyte on its surface, and the adsorbed ion is generally common with those of precipitate, which causes the development of positive or negative charge on precipitate, which ultimately break up into smaller particles having the dimensions of colloids. Example is FuH whole thrice. It undergoes precipitation in the presence of ferric ion from the electrolyte like FeCl3. As a result, we obtain FuH whole thrice colloidal particles. So when FuH whole thrice precipitate is shaken with aqueous solution of FeCl3, that is peptizing agent, FeCl3 adsorbs common ion, that is Fe3 plus ion, and thereby break up into small sized particles, forming colloidal particles of FeOH whole thrice. So now we have to discuss purification of colloidal solution. So dear students, we will discuss it in next lecture. My suggestion, you must go through it again at home and try to solve related questions of NCERT given in exercise. That is question number 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15. So from 11 to 15 you have to do at home. Thank you.